So yes, today's topic is what matters, and it's about how do I transform stress into wellness? Because stress is the very word stress has its own, trigger. It triggers the very word stress triggers us. So how can I now change my approach to stress rather? And before I get in there, something to just share. This particular thing, we went through the most stressful time universally during the COVID. All of you will agree without any doubt that has been the single most challenging thing that all of us have seen in our lifetime. Those who are here in this audience would agree that no matter what your age, we all agreed that we all went through tremendous stress. Okay. And during that time, there was this quote that came in a poem that was written by, now later on forgot his name. His name is Damien Bra. He mentioned we are all not in the same boat. We are all in the same storm. Now think about it. We are all not in the same boat, but we are all in the same storm. Okay. Typically, we always keep saying we are all in the same boat. That's a common adage. But in this case, we are saying no. We all in COVID went through the same storm. Some people managed it very well. Some people succumbed. Some people actually ended their lives in the sense that they lost their lives. Some people carry marks of that COVID even now. Some people became stronger from that experience. So what is it that is different among these people? Everybody has the same organs, same everything remaining the same. What made the difference? Right? It is our ability to navigate. How do we navigate the storms? It doesn't matter what size of boat we are in. It could be a small little rubber tube that you're in, or it could be in a massive ship. But a storm can topple a ship, but a guy in a rubber tube can survive, depending on that person's ability to navigate. So we're going to talk about that, saying that how do I learn to navigate? Because the storms are going to keep coming at us. The storm of COVID is just beginning of what is going to keep coming at us. Every storm is going to test our ability to navigate. Okay? So what are we going to do? How are we going to do that? So for that, this is a quote that is again a very favorite one of mine. I never fail to share it no matter who the audience is. This comes from a book called Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Viktor Frankl, an Austrian doctor who survived 17 years of incarceration in the Jewish camp, Holocaust. He was one of the victims. He came out of that 17 years, survived all the tortures, and he went on to help everybody else recover from it. He said as long as that man has some meaning and purpose in life, he or she can make something out of it. And he made it his life's purpose to help people. And in the book, he writes this very, very powerful statement, which is between stimulus and response. There is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. Think about the key words here. I'll just pause for a couple of seconds. What hits you as a key word here? 3 words. Stimulus, space, response. Stimulus is everything that we encounter in a 24-hour life cycle. From the time, whether we are sleeping or awake, there's always something going on. Some are external, some are internal. Every event that we track, every conversation that we have, every thought that we have is a stimulus. Right? Now what happens is typically we are conditioned to react. We are conditioned to react. Now what Dr. Viktor Frankl is saying is create a space and try not to react. Instead, replace it with response. Now that is brain science, what we call neuroscience. And Surabhi already mentioned about this program that we have that is focused on children. Children have this ability to respond. It's natural to them. It's only as we grow into adults, we become more reactive and less responsive because we are being conditioned, the environment conditions us, our education conditions us, our people condition us, our community conditions us. So we become less and less responsive and more reactive. So here, what happens is then we start doing things automatically. We are on autopilot mode. Survival. And that is to do with the way nature has designed us. So in a way, what we want to do is we start more and more being responsive, creating more and more space from the time any stimulus comes to us to the time that we choose to respond. Now that could be a fraction of a second, a minute, an hour, a day, a week, it doesn't matter. It is the consciousness of the fact that I have the power to choose. Now look at this image. This is obviously an image of, all of you will know that's a butterfly, that is in the metamorphosis stage. From the time it's a caterpillar, it then goes into cocoon, goes into it in suspension, emerges as a very frail butterfly, waits for a while, and then becomes a strong butterfly. It's a short lifespan, but lives a beautiful life. Now that is nature's design. The butterfly doesn't have a choice. It cannot decide that I will stay a caterpillar. It cannot decide that I'll stay the cocoon only. It cannot decide that I'm okay to be a crippled butterfly, I don't want to fly. It has to emerge, it has to fly. Human beings are not like that. We have the choice to be the way we are. Of course, we grow physically. But do we also grow emotionally? Do we also become more mature in the way we think, the way we respond? That choice is left to us. And that's how we develop what is called poise. The more we learn how to use the pause, the space, the more balanced we become in the choices that we make. We moderate the way we respond to situations, no extremes. So, Stephen Covey in his book 7 Habits says that when you get into a space before responding, there are 4 things at play, which makes us more proactive rather than reactive. The one is self-awareness, where I am aware of my feeling, my emotions, how I'm at that point in physical, emotional, mental, and my inner self. And second is my power of imagination. What will be the consequence? What are the possibilities? What will happen if I respond in a particular way? Even no response is a good response sometimes. Then comes the connection with your values, your conscience. What are your principles? What are your true north? You connect deep inside to see what is right or wrong. And finally, you exercise your will to execute whatever comes from within you. It requires will, because sometimes it may tell you something that you don't like to do, but you have to do. Like skipping a meal when you're not feeling too well, skipping a buffet table when you know that your health will not permit you to have a dessert. Those requires will. We succumb to the temptation. That time what happens? You have everything, self-awareness, imagination, conscience, but the will is not there. So the responses have to be a composite of all these 4 elements. And that's how we decide on what matters most and make the choices that matters most. All right, so that is very key to it. And because when we are in reaction mode, we have what is called an hijack of the amygdala. It is completely dictated by the need to survive. This is the flight, fight, freeze response that we typically encounter. It doesn't matter whether we are seeing a real tiger or we are encountering a situation where your teacher is shouting at you, or your boss is shouting at you, or your wife or husband is fighting with you, or your children are making trouble with you. We have the same reaction. Our brain goes through the same reaction. Everything moves, the resource moves to the amygdala, which is that small little red almond-shaped point that you're seeing there, and it immediately looks for, how can I get out of this situation? Should I fight? Should I run away? Or should I just freeze? This is 94% of our brain is on autopilot mode. They have no say in this matter. That's called the subconscious mind. So we have only 6% of what you call the rational thinking mind. Only 6%, which is the pure human mind. The prefrontal cortex is the human, or it's called the neocortex. Neo means new, which is purely available to only human beings. The mammalian brain and the limbic, or what's called the survival brain, is available to every living organism now. Of course, the mammalian brain is unique to the mammal species. So the humans have a gift. It's a small gift, but a powerful one at that. I have the choice by using the space to use my rational thinking or fall prey to my amygdala. That's my choice. That's why when we tell children, show some presence of mind, what are we saying? We're saying, bring your rational thinking to play. Don't fall prey to the amygdala. We are less scientific in saying, we just say, because panic, anxiety, something, but the amygdala is at play. It takes control. It is doing what will enable that situation to, you just get out of the situation. That's all. Right or wrong doesn't matter. You have to get out of the situation. So, there is a very simple method that we say when you want to know how to move from a reactive situation into a responsive situation, how to avoid a panic, how to get less of a stress, how do I manage anxiety. There's a simple yogic method. This is nothing to do with meditation, it's nothing to do with any other science, but it is scientific. That's the best part of it. When I discovered the science behind it, I was super thrilled. Because this is coming from 5,000 years of experiential learning. Our seers came up with this. They said, wherein you're in stress, just breathe through the left nostril. Close your right nostril and just breathe only through your left nostril. So I'm going to invite you to do that. I know you're not in panic now, but still go do it nevertheless. Just close your eyes and just hold your right forefinger on your right nostril. Keep only your left nostril open and inhale at your own pace and exhale at your own pace only through the left nostril. Do it 10 times at your own pace. Observe how your body feels as you do this. Very simple exercise. It's nothing, it doesn't cost you anything other than the fact that you just close your eyes, close your forefinger. What you're doing is normalizing the brain's state, which is triggered when there is an anxiety movement, which is amygdala triggered. By just breathing through your left nostril, you're activating what is called the parasympathetic autonomous system. When you have panic, your sympathetic autonomous system is active. It pushes in chemicals, it's adrenaline that's flowing in, it is in survival mode. So you're telling the brain, hold on, I do not want that to be activated now. It's good for in short bursts. It's good for a sportsman who wants to achieve a spectacular leap or a spectacular run or a spectacular swim. All those are short bursts are okay, but not consistently. That's where we move from what is called a good stress to a bad stress. So to get me back to a good stress and feel good about it, all I'm doing is normalizing it by breathing through my left nostril, which controls my right brain, and shutting out the activation of my right nostril, which controls my left brain. That's all. As simple as that. So there's more science to it, which is part of the Brighter Mind program as well. But for now, I'm just giving this as a quick tip. You can take that up. But now let's do a little visualization. Okay, I'm going to invite you all, maybe grab a pen or just visualize it mentally. Imagine that you're right now in the middle of this circle, 3 circles, and you're right in the middle of that. These circles are all the stimulus that I talked about, the various events that we continuously encounter in 24 hours a day. Of course, when you're sleeping, it's much less about only your brain that's active, the dreams that are active. External environment is sort of shut down because your senses are shut down. Imagine that in the rest of the 12 or 14 hours of a day when you're awake. The largest circle is what we call the circle of, they are all the stimuli, and of course we live in a VUCA world, all these are corporate jargon, so let's ignore that and move straight into the fact that your circles are nothing but the biggest circle is the circle that we call those that do not matter at all. These are what I cannot control. I cannot control the outcomes in this circle. They happen all the time around me. I'm talking about it, interacting with the world in this. I may enjoy it, I may be distressed by it, doesn't matter. The thing is, it is not anything that I can control. I'll give an example to start the discussion, and then you can share your own examples on chat. And let me know what other things that you can think of. For me, very simple, I live in Bangalore. Traffic is a major problem. There are so many traffic, I'm sure Pune, Mumbai, it's all no different, any part of the world. Bangalore particularly, there are some terrible spots, and I dread to go to those places when I have to. My amygdala gets hijacked, God, I have to go through that hell, it takes an hour. But I realize I can't do much about it. The only thing I can do about it is leave early, or opt not to drive, take a taxi, or go by some other mode. I have no options. I have to go through that, right? But I still talk about it. I'm talking about it to you also. That means it's always there in my head. So I have to make a choice. How do I manage? How do I keep that? I should learn to manage it. That's all. I should learn, accept that this is a factor. I have no control over the traffic. What other things do you think that we keep talking about, we're involved in? We spend a lot of time and energy. As I said, it may be pleasurable, entertaining, or it can be something very distracting, unnecessary. What other examples can come up? Put it on chat, or for those who can, they can come off mute also. I'll follow it. Things that are not in your control, but we are always thinking about it, spending time on it, giving our energy, our attention. Give me some examples.
So you can write in the chat, you can even talk about it by putting your video on audio.
Can use the chat. I see some chat responses coming in. Okay, here we are. Okay, how someone reacts, correct? Weather, yeah, weather, absolutely. We talk about the weather, we talk about calamities, train, flight delay, exactly. There you are. Good examples. Yes. So many of them. I mean, our brain is always grappling with these stimulus more than the normal. These are the ones that we bother about. We read about. I mean, just for managing time, I'm good. Yeah, trolls. Smita, good one. Yeah, exactly. Social media, isn't it? People either they put a thumbs up or they put the thumbs down, or they write something nasty, or they write something very appreciative. All this keeps changing our moods. It crosses a stress. And if you think about it, saying, why am I getting stressed? This is not going to be lasting even the moment, but it's there, it's lingering in me, and it's causing me so much distress, right? So there are so many of them. I can't control the minds of people who try to judge me, so I will ignorance is best. Yeah, sure, it's a principle, but practicing is very difficult. You can't ignore. We are not an island, isn't it? The mind is man is not an island. We still have to interact with the world. But I like that I would like to be ignorant, and I follow it to a large extent by not doing certain things that most people do today. Like, for example, I don't read newspapers. I don't watch news channels. I don't attend any debates in the TV. I don't watch any of those nonsense that goes in the name of debate. And I say the world news is of no consequence to me. Unless I want to know something about the world, I don't want the world to come and tell me what the news is, because it's of no consequence. That's the choice I make. Now you need to choose. So let's take some more examples. I mean, there are a lot of things I'm sure you'll be thinking about, but not articulating as I'll do it for you. I'll just put a list here. Go through this. I don't do it. Okay, Ramnagar, we are in good company then. So there we are. The COVID-19 was the biggest stimulus. We couldn't do anything. We were helpless, but we talked and wrote and shared and forwarded and did everything. But it only kept us in a highly stressful condition. Many people died more from the stress than from the actual problem. More deaths happened because of panic. Then, of course, COVID idiots. They were feeding this fake machines and all that. Then, of course, typical problems: job security, pay cuts, the GDP, economy issues, stock markets, petrol prices, forest reserves, traffic, aliens, life after death. Some people don't want to live. They want to continue thinking about what will happen after death and who should they spend time with and all that. The weather, of course. Then celebrities, what the celebrities are doing, who is married to whom, who divorced whom, and what are they up to. Of course, the IPL, CAA, these kind of political issues, Bollywood, natural calamities. You see, there's a whole gamut. This is not exhaustive. Each of you will have your own circle of concern. Some may be common here, some may be uncommon. What is happening common in this is that they are not in my control. They don't really matter. If you choose to ignore most of them, you find that actually it makes no difference to you. Doesn't it? That requires a serious thought. Okay. And what happens is that it increases what you call your power of discrimination, your ability to choose what really matters, what doesn't matter. Very understanding that this is of no consequence to me is enough for me to choose. It doesn't matter. Also, if there are no choices here, like I said, I have to go through the traffic, it builds resilience. I have to go through the bad weather, it builds resilience. People living in Pune and Mumbai went through floods. Mumbai people go through floods every time. They are considered one of the most resilient people. They will walk through flooded tracks, they'll get into trains, no matter what, they'll reach their workplace, they'll come back home. We call them one of the most. I have been a Mumbaiker for many years. Can I do that again? I don't want to do it again. It's my choice. They don't have a choice. So we call them resilient, because they are going through all the odds and doing what is supposed to be done. So it builds resilience. It also makes you capable of choosing what I should be in and what I should. I'm not saying stop watching. I'm saying choose sensibly. Social media, can I come out it completely? No. Choose what adds value to you. That choice I have the ability to choose. Okay. Now we come to the second circle, and some of those matter with what you people have just shared on their chat. These are to do with the people. They are the people that I continuously interact with. And they are what we fall in the circle of what I can influence. Who can I influence? The who. Okay? Because these are, you cannot control anybody. Think about it. Can I control anybody that I work with, I live with, I interact with? Control? Wrong word. I can influence them. Think about it. I can't control anything. Not my child, not my wife, not my parents, not my friends, not my colleagues. Of course, if you are one of those dictatorial person and a boss and an owner of a business, you may be controlling people, but out of fear, not out of a willingness, right? That's different. It's not normal. How do I do it? I have various ways to influence people. And the whole people that I'm talking about is all these. You have all the stakeholders. You have your boss, your siblings, your kids, your domestic help, of course, who can control you, actually. Relatives, friends, parents, spouse, direct reports, peers. That's a whole gamut. If you're an education institution, you have your own circle of people that you influence or interact with. If you're in a business, you have a whole circle. Matter of Moses, stakeholder. These are all people who are going to interact with you. You can influence. How? What do I need to influence? Simple. There are ingredients, masala. We call them masala. You need all this masala. And you keep hearing these words in different contexts, but you put it all into place, it finally is nothing about other than influencing people. Getting them to do what I think I want them to do, which is maybe beneficial to them also, but definitely beneficial to me, or to a larger cause. What is that? A mutual respect, trust, effective communication, active listening, acceptance, empathy, love, patience. All these words we use it loosely, but they have certain value in building relationships. Each of them have a certain role to play, depending on the kind of relationship that you have with that person. So you need to choose that also. Where do you need to use love? Where do I need to use empathy? Where do I need to use listening? That's a choice I have to make. Now, if you take in a business context, in a work context, in a professional context, you need to have alignment of expectations. You need to give feedback to each other. You need to know how to delegate work effectively, how to manage constructive conflicts, how to collaborate. Now, these are words purely in a corporate kind of context. But everything comes to the fact that I can influence people using these tools, and I need to develop the skill to do these things. And then finally, if you see the circle is getting smaller and smaller. So then we come to circle number 3. Now, you would have guessed by now what it is. There's no prize for guessing. That's my only circle of what is called control. What do I control?
So you can write in the chat, you can talk about it.
Yes. That's it, Priyanka. Bingo. No prize, of course. This is straightforward. It's that. That's all. That's the only thing that you can control. And what does this mean when I say I can control myself? It's about making choices. It is about response, isn't it? We come back to that. I have to choose what to take. Emotions, of course, everything that has to do with me, reactions, very nice. Being self-aware, yeah. More, maybe the basic ideas. These are deeper into yourself. What else? That's it, yeah, that's right. What else can you do as a person? Very, very simple things. I choose what to eat. I choose when to eat, where to eat, how to eat, who to eat with. I choose when to sleep. I choose when to exercise. Should I exercise? Should I not exercise? Because what you're writing is all the softer side of things. I am looking at even the basic things. Because we make big, poor choices there also. Stop blaming. Yes, absolutely. Yoga, meditation. Yeah. How much should I meditate? How much should I socialize? How much should I read? How much should I continue to learn? Develop myself? Remember the butterfly. Should I stay a caterpillar? Should I stay in a cocoon? Should I stay to the next level? Or should I become the butterfly? That choice happens in this circle. Now, the problem is, we are so spread out in all these 3 circles. Where is the time? Where is the energy? Because we are not knowing what matters most. We are all jumbled. All the 3 circles, we operate in all these. We go in a day, we are across all these circles. Every time a WhatsApp message comes, somebody sends you some forward, you immediately open it, see it, you get into it. Next thing you know, you dive deep. Instagram, Reels, you go one after the other, 2 hours are gone. And you say, my God, 2 घंटा गया. Stress. 2 घंटा गया, मेरा पढ़ाई गया, मेरा काम गया. Stress was, who caused the stress? I made the choice. I chose to take that stress. When I was enjoying it, I didn't have the stress. That time you call it a eustress mode. You're enjoying it, you're in a great high, eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S. You're enjoying it. Your body is putting in dopamine. Dopamine comes every time a nice message comes, somebody sends you a nice thumbs up for what you wrote, you feel a high. Some loved one calls you, you have a nice conversation, or you get a promotion, or you get a high increase, or something pleasant happens to you, dopamine high. You read a good book, all this is dopamine used. The moment the reverse happens, distress. Distress means cortisol, adrenaline, all these which are considered, they are necessary hormones, but they are not supposed to be in the system for too long. So when we are reading material which is very provocative, which is very agitating, we are reading about politics, we are reading about certain religious, our own ideologies, it creates a stress. The easiest thing is shut it down, drop it. Why are you getting into it in the first place? And then get stressed. People watching cricket have fallen having heart strokes. Can you imagine? They're watching, they're not playing. Just because India lost or some other country lost, you have a heart attack. So what is happening to this world? What choices are we making? So, question is, what do I do about it now? That means I have to become more and more self-aware and self-centered. Selfish with an S, capital S. That's self-centeredness. I have to focus on myself. Okay? And that requires some help, that requires some practice. Everything requires practice, it requires a little experience. So, this self that we're talking about has got multi-dimensions to it. It's not unidimensional. So here I'll put one, I want you to help me with the rest. One dimension that is always in our life, it's like a juggler juggling balls. At any point in time, there are multiple balls in the air and only 2 balls are in hand. Have you noticed that? Likewise, in our life also, we have to navigate through multiple dimensions. The first dimension that I can share with you is family. We have to live in the family. We are born into a family. And we live in the family, whether it is the family that I was born into or I make my own family, the fact remains that I will be the family. It's a dimension you cannot run away from, unless you decide to live a lonely life. Can you tell me what the other dimensions are, things that I have to manage in that circle of control? Yes, I'm just trying to make this interactive. So we have the social dimension, which is the community that we live in, the friends that we have. The next one is the physical dimension, my fitness, my own exercise, how I manage my finance. Excellent. Thank you, Manisha. Mental, of course, the mental acuity, how well I'm keeping my intellect active, my career choices, and then, of course, the financial, as Manisha has pointed out. All this requires me to focus on one thing, where I can make the right choices. And I'm sure that's no price for guessing again. There's multiple dimensions I can manage only if I manage myself. All are interconnected. Each impact the other. So they are all the balls that I am, the self, is managing by giving inputs, responses, choices in all these dimensions. So that's the uniqueness of the human being. We make choices in all these dimensions. We can't ignore one for the other. You have to make the decisions on all these choices, the places. And you have to balance this. And you can't give equal time. You can only give equitable time, proportionate. So when you're a young boy, you will be focused on maybe your physical and mental, because you're going to school, you're building a nice body, maybe focus a little bit on your education. At that time, family, financial, social may not matter so much. But once you get married, once you're family, you're earning a living, then the dimensions change. So the ball in the hand will change depending on the age and phase that you're in. But all the balls are definitely there in play. Okay. So the way we do it in the heartfulness way is we focus on the circle of control, reduce the circle of concern as much as we can. We can't get out of it completely, but reduce the circle of concern. Start doing things that you've never done. Stop doing things that you don't need to do. Continue doing things that are doing well for you and tweak what is working well but needs a little bit of change. So let's talk about what are the things that you can do. First things, be stronger than the environment. I need to build my resilience. I need to become more discriminating. Develop a positive attitude. The pictures that I'm showing are all scientists who have given a lot of information about this topic. Kelly McGonigal has discovered that it is not the stress that's a problem, it's our attitude to stress that matters. So if you're able to look at stress in a positive way, she says there is no ill effect. But if you look at stress as being difficult for you, it will cause ill effect. So you also need to see there are some good stress and there are some bad stress. Your attitude is going to decide the impact of stress. Likewise, we can construct our emotions rather than let emotions take control of us. Okay, you can take steps now to influence your future emotional experiences to sculpt who you will be tomorrow. That's what Liz Feldman says. And that in effect says that I can step into the future of emotions. I can choose what emotions need to come at any point in time. I can choose to be angry. I can choose to be sad. I can choose to be happy. I can make those choices. It's my choice. I control it to some extent, so that I can continue to be in flow with what we call my own self, which means I can continue to become from a very effortful situation, stressful, I become effortless. My focus becomes effortless. When I do that, I'm moving from the conscious to subconscious and conscious reverse at my will. And from there, it means that I move to a state of flow, which is what Dr. Mihaly says, a mental state when a person is fully immersed in the present in a feeling of energized focus. So there's no worry about what happened and no concern about what is going to happen, because here you're now here. Okay. You're in that circle of control completely. It's like being in the eye of the storm. It's complete vacuum. You know that, right? In the eye of a hurricane or storm, it's vacuum. Everything is swirling around, but you're in control. You know what you need to do. First thing is that, not step into that circle. That's all. All right. So how does it happen? I use it my heart. I use my heart to be in flow. The whole focus of heartfulness is on accessing that intelligence of the heart. Okay. So there are 4 aspects of that. And here we say that this is how we use the space between stimulus and response. That space is where we do this. The practice is focused on creating space, creating this ability to connect to the heart. That's why it's called heartfulness. Okay. So now I'm going to take you through a short experience on the heartfulness practice. I'll take you directly to the meditation because I'm just looking at the time. We have 15 minutes. So I'll give you a small little experience. Normally we meditate for at least 30 minutes, but today I'll just keep the experience for a short time so that we have time for questions. So Ravi, that's okay?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I invite you all to just sit comfortably, back straight, neck straight. Don't rest your head on anything. Hands on the armrest of your chair or on your thighs, whatever is convenient to you. Close your eyes gently. Drop your shoulders. Just take a deep breath. Become aware of your breathing. Just feel the sensation of relaxation coming over you as you go. I've already closed your most important sensory part, the eyes. As you gently breathe at the pace that you're comfortable with awareness and joy, just draw your attention inwards, towards your heart. You don't need to focus on the physical heart. Just focus on the area that your heart is resident of. The left side. Just focus there. You need a focal point. You just focus on that area. That's all. Not the physical, but just that area. And let your curiosity now take over. You're curious. Let this be a kind of a scientific experiment. You just make a supposition, what we call a hypothesis, that my higher self, my inner self, we call it God, we call it the universe, the truth, we call it the source, we call it whatever name you want to call it. We call it love. That is present within me. And it's like a source of light, and it is attracting from within, like a magnet. I'm just becoming aware of it. I'm not doing anything more. I'm aware there is a higher presence within, and I'm going to get into a silent communication with it. No words exchanged, just acknowledging each other's presence. Observe what happens as you keep focusing on this presence. Remember, it's a supposition. It can be in the form of a warmth during somebody coming and giving a hug, somebody loved giving a hug, but it's like stepping out into the sun in a wintry morning. Just a feeling. There's no thinking involved. Experience it. You're in the presence of what we also call divine. Now, for sure, there'll be thoughts coming in. A lot of thoughts. From your circle of concern, circle of influence, circle of control, all these are things that are there. You have the choice to pay attention to it or ignore it. Choose wisely. Ignore it. It'll keep coming. Just like driving in Indian traffic. Bad drivers, wrong side drivers, animals, people walking, jaywalkers, all kinds, but you have to drive. You have to focus. Focus on this idea that I am in communication with my higher self, connected to this divinity within me, the source of light. It is gently but slowly attracting me inward. Ignore all the thoughts that come, no matter how important, how urgent they may seem, how interesting they may be. Just put it up. I'm not interested. Ignore it. Let it come, let it go. Continue to be in that awareness until I call out, that's all. That's all. Just stay with your eyes closed. Observe. How are you feeling? Observe the physical level, any vibration, any sensation that you're feeling or felt. Doesn't matter if you didn't feel anything. Just observe. Like taking stock. Observe how you're feeling emotionally. Observe what are the thoughts that came and went. Are there many thoughts now, or that your mind is settled? Feel empty, or you feel no, I have a lot of thought. Doesn't matter. Just make an observation. And the final thing is see how connected you are to this higher self. Perhaps it's the first experience for many of you. What is this higher self? What is this guy talking about? You may not put words to it, but if you feel that you went inwards, just like a tortoise goes with its limbs inside into a shell, and you lost a sense of awareness of where you are, what you are doing, then yes, you were in communion with that higher self. It does not sleep, I can assure you. You lost a sense of where you are doing, what you're doing, what is going on around you. And for a fraction of a second, you lost your consciousness. That's the state of meditation. It's not the time, it is just the quality. You open your eyes gently. Just put a word on chat as to how are you feeling right now. What words come when you have to share the experience of meditation session. Very short session, typically much longer than that, but I wanted you to get a taste of it. Once you connect with the trainers after the session, you'll get a much longer experience, much more details. A lot of questions that you have in your mind perhaps also can be answered in that session. For now, just stay with how are you feeling. I can see responses come. Feeling fresh? Yes, absolutely. Refreshing. Very much. All right. So yeah, I am a stickler to time. I know that we've got about 2 or 3 minutes left. So I'm going to give those 3 minutes for you to ask questions. Calm, yes, Urvasi, thank you. Yes. Any questions? Okay, you did it with your 8-year daughter. Okay. All right, so Ravi will share with you some things that we do and don't do. The children, we do advise children not to start meditation until they are 15 years old, especially the method that we are practicing. But they can do relaxation, which Surabhi talked about. That's a different topic for a different day. I think we can talk about that. Okay, calm, lost. I can see the responses are coming slowly because people are still in a meditative state. I can understand that. No worries. But that's what it is. We basically say meditation is nothing but effortless focus. Okay, and the meditation in the heart is precisely for the reason that it is physically the center, emotionally the center, and spiritually the center. That's all. As simple as that. The scientific case has already been made for you through that videos that we shared with you. Now here is very simple. Experience it. Experience with an open mind. See what happens when you go get deeper and deeper into the self of yours. And magic will happen. Let that experience guide you. Okay. So this is what we have done, and the simple thing is when you are able to get yourself settled and able to discern between the concern, control, influence circles very clearly, that is what we call a settled mind. You're able to regulate your thoughts, you're able to regulate your actions. And once you're able to achieve that, your mind is settled. It's not that you're not going to think. You'll only stop thinking when you're 6 foot under grave or urn of ashes. Brain is going to work. Thing is that you can regulate what you want to think, like holding a horse and telling it where to go. It will run. It will run because it loves to run. The brain loves to think. You tell what to think. You tell where to think, how to think. And that is why we say settled mind is a happy mind. And there is this little nice formula to it. You're saying when you want to experience true joy, you need settled mind and an open heart. But this morning, I heard my friend tell this beautiful word. He said, a heart at peace gives a mind at ease. A heart at peace gives a mind at ease. So if you want to know what is mattering most, how to manage stress, don't go around looking around everywhere. Look inside. The answers are within us. Very simple. So what happens? We are all not in the same boat. We started with that quote. I want to end up saying that when you do meditation and follow the heartfulness practices as it is designed, I only gave you one of the core practices, four of them. I'm sure there'll be more sessions to open up those others to you at some suitable time. It'll equip you to weather all the storms. That's what will happen. You'll navigate better because you are in control of your own destiny. You can design your destiny. You can decide what will be my next version and what will be my best version. Entirely up to you. Of course, Surabhi already talked about Brighter Minds. For those who are curious, there's a QR code. You can always go. There's a brighterminds.org. You can go there and visit that site and see a lot of information that you have. Surabhi, of course, is most well equipped to give you that information in further details. And for those who are now curious about heartfulness, please whip out your mobile phone. Heartfulness.org is a very simple site. It has got everything that you would like to know about heartfulness. Besides, we have trainers who can be available free of charge. Everything is free of charge. And you can access them. They will give you free meditation sessions face-to-face. It's what we recommend normally. And I assume that you'll all be coming for some other sessions in the future. Maybe we will share more details at that time. I'll also give you an experience of the other practices that is part of the core practices of heartfulness. So with that, I'm going to switch off and leave the floor back to Surabhi and Rama Shinde. Over to you.
Thank you, Subhuji. Thank you, Rama ma'am.